Hello and welcome to Zelda Speedruns. Today we're pleased to bring you another A Link to the Past Randomizer Crosskeys Sanity match. It is semifinals time, so we're coming on to find out who our finalists are going to be. And today we have Goomba, our number 1 seed, versus zelgadissan, the number 5. And on commentary today, I'm pleased to be joined by Dane, and hoping to get him someone to join him soon. So thanks, and I will talk to you shortly. I'm gonna try and get the runners off soon. So thanks again.
Yeah, like Nornado was saying, we've got a great match here between Goomba and zelgadissan. As I'm sure most people who saw this bracket, this is definitely a matchup you'd be circling as a one to watch. That two of the best entrance players that we have, and only in the semifinals. But even our tracker has also compiled some stats, as if you need stats to kind of say how good these runners have been doing this tournament. But both of them just have the one loss the entire bracket, Goomba being 10-1 versus people over 500 even. So it's like most of his people were above the more wins than losses. zelgadissan having a nice 7-1 as well, and Goomba going 8-1 against opponents in brackets, with Zelda doing 4-1 against these brackets. So both of these guys, they've got great records, done it against the best of the rest of the field. In general, the average win time for these runners is 2 hours and 19. So not bad at all, for sure. And even 15% of the time, these runners just finish sub 2. So definitely looking for a good one today. And the runners should be starting very shortly. And we see both these runners both do the sort of standard route we see more frequently, where you start over at Link's house and then you set up this fake flipper over to the witch's hut to get that sort of out of the way entrance out of the way, and also go over to the useless fairy drop down, and then finally set up the Houlihan room to get some extra money for Crosskeys, because it's always nice to have some extra money in Crosskeys, because you might find a bomb shop when you need some bombs, and it's very nice to be able to have those bombs early. And also you see Zelga over here going to chuck the bushes at the pickle to see what the drop pack they're giving today. It's money today from the pickles, so not going to need to get any bombs from them. Though it is good to just eliminate what drop packs anything can be in, because there's some nice routes you can go on and basically kill most every enemy from every drop pack represented, and then you're likely to get at least one bomb doing that. So we'll see at our first look at this useless fairy drop down today. It is Ganon, so not going to need to beat Aga 1 or Aga 2 to get to Ganon today. We'll just be able to drop right into that little hole as soon as these runners have met the goal and gotten their 7 crystals. And yeah, this is the sort of Houlihan setup. If you set up a drop down in a place where the game doesn't know where to put you, it puts you here, and you can get all of this money for free. It's named the Houlihan Room because of the Nintendo Power giveaway, with Chris Houlihan winning the rights to naming that room. And here, yeah, you see Zelga and Goomba both chucking that sign at that guard, because those are in one drop pack. These arrow shooting guards are also in a different drop pack, and so are the Octoroks. So we just got to see 4 really quick ones. Zelga getting pretty good luck, getting 4 in a row first time drops, and getting a nice... This one bomb can go a long way if you find like a Nagina or something over in these 2 entrances, but neither of these entrances seem to require bombs. And finding the smith over in that fortune teller house, so when we do have access to those smiths, we can turn them in over there, but that'll be quite a while from now. And we'll get to see at our first look at where the Sanctuary drop-down is going to be. Goomba deciding to save and quit out of those highly houses, and Zelga going to go up north to the Uncle drop-down. And we have a pretty interesting Sanctuary location, with that being a pyramid today. So as soon as we get the Moon Pearl, we've already got access to East Dark World. There could even be some connectors over there that are in logic. And also this item that Goomba's going to, it's also available just without anything, and it's a small key. So we'll see if this is going to be a useful early game one or just one we need later. And that castle tower one, always interesting. You get a free, the first castle tower small always gives you one item. The second one, it just lets you beat Aghanim, which may or may not be useful. We'll have to see what's at the lumberjack drop down today. And we see over in the uncle drop down, we see the uncle as per the vanilla game, what have you. So nice to get some extra magic. It's also nice to have that one there because it's kind of quick to get it. You don't have to walk all the way around. Though you do prefer that one, the uncle drop down, to be at Aghanim. That's kind of the best case scenario. And looks like our tier 2 tree pole is just single rupees, so not going to be using that to farm very much. This upgrade fairy is tempting because if you're on one bomb, you can spend 100 to get 15 rather than spending 50 to get 10. It looks like Zelda going to decide that, yeah, that's worth it. We'll get those, especially when you're on one bomb. It's very nice to get all the way up to 15 early. So Zelda making it, they're kind of seeing a bit of covering up each other's tracks here. I don't think that we got to see the tier 1 tree hole. Yeah, it doesn't look like Goomba's going to give it to us either. So, we'll figure that one out later, I guess. And we'll probably see both these runners just save and quit and head on over to Kakariko because we don't really have our save and quit spots. Pretty much just Link's house right now. You don't really want to go doing any bunny walks this early from that pyramid. Though it looks like Goomba, maybe they'll go hit up the Light World Hype Cave at least. Yeah, Goomba's going to hit up that entrance first, whereas Zelga's going to make his way right over to Kakariko. And that's the useless Ice Rod Cave entrance. I guess you can use it to set up water walks sometimes, but otherwise not very useful. No item in there. And you find the old lady connector, and you'll see this is something you see in Crosskeys a lot. You don't want to go exploring your connectors too quickly because you might get locked out, especially when Kakariko is such an annoyingly long walk away. So you just see like a sort of clear out all the entrances first and then start following your connectors. And we found a pretty good location here finding Blind's hut, sorry. And we get 5 really nice early items here. Big Key of Swamp, not super interesting as far as Big Keys goes. Just gives us that one item later in the game when we finally have access to Swamp Palace. Yeah, Blind's Hut not having anything too great. Just got like a heart piece, a shield, and a Big Key. And that shield, I mean, the shield's nice sometimes to get in the Swamp Palace entrance, but otherwise it's just giving you like a little extra lag. And just 20 bucks on that race game, so not going to need that this game. Sometimes that race game can come up pretty important because you either get connected over there and there's a good item, or you get the early-ish mirror. So Zelda has found the dam over at the library, which is always a great find. You love to find the dam before doing any of your checks over in the dam entrance area because you get the item on your first try. Also, whenever we find Swamp Palace, that dam will now be flooded get past the water swamp. I need the swamp small to get in there and the hammer to get anywhere after that. So still a lot needs to go, and even the hook shot to clear it. So one of the barriers to entry to swamp is gone, but there are still several. Ooh, and there's the bomb vendor today. Figure out red crystals in Thieves Town and Desert Palace today. So Desert Palace can sometimes be, it's generally pretty good at hiding because it's just got the 2 locations and it's the single item. And there's the flippers too. So gives us a couple extra locations. Also, yet another thing you can tick off on we can get stuff from Swamp Palace checklist. But the one good thing about Desert being a red crystal is you know that it's not going to be able to hide inside of the pyramid today. And there's Aghanim's Tower, which with 13 bombs, you can definitely do it, but it's very slow. They have the Castle Tower small key as well, so just going to put that off for now until they got some sort of weapon and can just get both of the checks. Yep, Goomba making the same decision. It's just so slow and costs so many bombs. You don't want to do that when you can just get some other weapon to make that quicker. And that archery game can be useful early, but neither of these runners deciding that that's a priority. Even with the flippers, I mean, that could be the one reason you might want to do it now, but these runners probably not thinking about going to Zora anytime soon. There's just so many other entrances you can do right now. But I'm sure they'll keep that in mind if they find themselves at 205 rupees or something and they've checked all the Light World entrances, then you start thinking about going over to Zora. And so the Thieves drop down is at the magic back spot, and it's kind of one of the more annoying things to see is just a small key, because most of the time you see a small key just sitting in the wild. It's a useless one because most of the small keys are not that good. However, you have to pick it up because it could be a Swamp Ale small key or Pod small key, one of the ones that you actually need. All right, so kind of a couple of single item games. That boomerang early game is actually pretty nice in Crosskeys because they don't have a weapon right now and bombs are pretty slow to get out of the way. So if you just need to knock some enemy that's being annoying out of the way, it's quite nice to have a boomerang. Just a piece of a heart from the bottle vendor today. So this Kakariko has been nothing great so far. We found that old lady connector in the south, and also Blind's Hut, but it was kind of a dud for Blind's Hut. And Aga Tower is still to be determined. There's a glove though in Lumberjack Cave, which is at the Cackwell, which is always good. Early glove in Crosskeys is fantastic, especially right now, because this makes your route really easy. Now, you go up north to the Lost Woods and Lumberjack, then you do that glove-locked entrance that's normally the entrance to the mountain, and you go down to get your glove-locked entrance at Sanctuary, which could still be Kakariko Well, because these runners, we have not seen that one yet. So we've got Useless Fairy Magic Bat, Kakariko Well, and one more that's escaping me right now. Oh no, Back of Sank. Yeah, Back of Sank is in the pyramid. And looks like I'm joined here by Excalibur. Gonna have a co-com in the booth.
Good evening. What's going on?
Well, you haven't missed too much. Both of these runners basically have just cleared out Kakariko, done their standard Houlihan route. Nothing too interesting up there, just Ganon at Useless Fairy. The pyramid was at it was Sanctuary today, and they got a Castle Tower small from the ledge. We found Mini Moldorm Cave just now, and Blind's Hut earlier, but it was kind of empty. So yeah, basically just we've cleared out Kakariko, no interesting connectors, got an early glove, and now they're kind of just off continuing that route.
Early glove is useful from a efficiency Light World point of view, and there's a sword, also a great early convenience item. And I see they found Capacity Fairy, the best early bomb shop.
Yeah, both of them. Zelga had 1 bomb and Goomba had 0, and they found Capacity Fairy at Hyrule Castle, which was definitely nice.
Yeah, it's like a bomb shop, only it lasts forever. All right. This is game 1, right? Semifinals?
Yep, still game 1. The series got a little bit delayed due to some internet issues, but it's off and running now.
Yeah, zelgadissan had some spectacularly bad internet issues last weekend. But they're only the other semifinals still going on, so it's not exactly like they're holding up the tournament. So.
Yeah, these runners in this tournament have been so good on scheduling that I think they were actually both early to start, but then they had to push back their early start to a normal start. Sorry,
you mentioned we did find Ganon at Useless Fairy?
Yep. They've got a lot of item caves right now, and that second glove being one of the main things. Just the 2 gloves have been the main prize that they found from them.
They found a whole bunch of item caves in precisely no dungeons. Ah, there we go.
No, except Aga Tower over in the Bombable Hut.
That only kind of counts. It's like a crappy item cave.
Yeah, it's just a glorified 2 item cave.
Unless there's something at Lumberjack, of course, but
not today. It's Useless Fairy.
Which is an excellent find there, except it does mean that we have a little bit of tension about going up Ganon's Tower.
Well, Ganon's Tower we know is the back of escape, so
yes. So
we got the whole key steal or not key steal sort of deal.
Oh right, yes, of course. Yeah, it makes the sewer's key an item of interest.
Yeah, and we found a vanilla pod small key in Palace of Darkness, so now these runners already got one earlier, have the second one now.
Yeah, the second one's great too, because you can get a bunch of the stuff out of the back. It's way out of logic, and it's out of logic not just for keys, but also for the lamp, but that's fine. You'll just remember that when you get anything good back here, that it's locked behind a whole bunch of pod smalls.
We did see that mushroom in one of the keys that's only locked by the 1 pod small, so that could be something interesting.
Yeah, except nobody wants to go back there.
Yeah, there's not really... I mean, I guess you can do it, because they could do that on the way to their south route and just play Flipper over there again. Or actually real Flipper, because we found those Flippers already.
Yeah. It's not that bad, but it's bad enough that lots of runners don't want to do it. On the other hand, finding the magic shop somewhere terrible without having dropped it off it feels terrible moment.
Yeah. And looks like we're seeing Goomba's going to decide to use a save scum here on that second key to just check the vanilla big key chest.
We can see that Goomba is running on emulator from the path that reset took.
Yeah, so he hasn't seen the... he should know by process elimination that drop down at Sank is the Kakariko Well. So it looks like he's going to go turn in that mushroom and probably walk back up to that entrance. Maybe even all the way back up the pod.
That's totally reasonable. So turn in the mushroom, and also with 2 gloves in hand, Kakariko Well. I mean, Kakariko Well is the drop down you're looking for, and it's kind of a pain in the ass to get to. And Sanctuary is kind of a pain in the ass to get to from both their starting locations. It's not really convenient, hardly ever. So, you get to make the absolutely miserable walk straight past King's Tomb, but for reasons that have never been clear. To open this grave, you don't need boots, but to open the other one, you do.
Yeah, I think the king maybe just had a more expensive sarcophagus that you really have to run into.
Yeah, I feel like the magic of dashing shouldn't help you push on things, right? Like, nobody ever hired Usain Bolt to do the tractor pull.
Yeah, it's true. And looks like we're going to see a Mimic clip over here from Zelda, so we'll get a look at 2 new checks.
Yeah, Zelda is amongst the better Mimic clippers in the tournament. You can see that he's trying to do it unbuffered, which is real hard. Even the buffered trick isn't free.
Yeah, it's several frame perfect inputs in a row, and if you mess up one, you have to start all over.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Zelda hit a incorrect button on his emulator there, and lost track of which input he was on. Apologies to chat for any audio problems. I literally hopped in this chat directly off of as the race was going, so Nori didn't get a chance to equalize levels and stuff before I started talking.
Yep, just at the right time once the runners started doing stuff that's different. It's hard to solo com once they get out of CAC.
There's the top of Paradox Cave over Ice Ride area. Speaking of which, of places that Goomba did not go.
Yeah, with all the items Goomba had, he got a pretty good route there after the save and quit to pod to use that little portal to get over here, and we'll get Paradox Cave as a reward for it.
The use of the whirlpools is something that's, I think, often neglected by people that are learning entrance, but it's a really efficient way to get around at times. It can be very good time save. That was... Zelda's going to be mad at himself for how long that mimic clip took. 30 or 40 seconds worse than he would like. So, and
we'll see if he gets anything for his troubles.
A Hyrule Castle map and a bug net?
No, not worth it. Speaking of not worth it, Paradox Cave's been a pretty big dud so far. Let's see what this small Elite GT. Okay, that's interesting, I guess, but not great. The extra money though is pretty nice because they've got the flippers for Zora.
Yeah, though I still expect to see Goomba heading out using this as a connector.
Oh, absolutely.
Seeing where this goes.
He has the real flippers, so no worry about fake flippering from that spot.
Yeah, you can just YOLO into the water from anywhere. And with these super early mitts, Goomba checking out the behind the rocks check. That's usually one of the
walk up there.
One of the more difficult checks in the game usually, but we have sub 20-minute mitts, which I assume will tempt all the runners into like aggressively checking the stupid mitts locations. Like, I'd be pretty tempted in Goomba's shoes to go check the Ice Palace main entrance, even though it's a terrible check. The next time he's flippering, just because with flips and mitts, like,
Yeah, definitely is an option because it's the only main thing is the Zora. You're going to want to go to Zora and Waterfall, so you kind of have to go just for it. But it's not terrible to get to.
No, it's not. And that check, even without like, could be your Moon Pearl, right?
Yeah.
It could be. I don't know how many of the NPC locations we've seen. But...
I don't think we've actually seen any of the Bunnyable. We haven't seen Spec Rock Bottom, or Hype Cave, or Stick Kid, or Hammer Pegs, any of the go-to things you can get as a bunny. And there's the boots over there on Zelga's side. Both these runners have pulled the dam, so as soon as Goomba gets there, he'll be able to get those boots as well.
And here's one of those places where having a glove makes routing better. The glove checks really are like inconveniently scattered about the game, so having one early probably saves a good few minutes over the game just from routing efficiency.
Yeah, they're just sprinkled out on the corners of the map, and when you're routing the light world, it's kind of like pick your poison and which ones are you going to do first if you don't have the glove, hoping to find the glove. And it's really nice when you just don't have to deal with any of that.
Though it wouldn't surprise me if runners are because they're less practiced at it, actually don't have like optimal routes quite as optimal once they have a super early glove. And certainly the super early Titans mitts, like what do? Goomba unfortunately gets spat out at Bonk Rocks before getting to his boots. So going south from Link's house for a third time, I think.
Yep, but luckily this boots won't be too much of a disadvantage in terms of time gotten. I think Zelda had it for maybe 3-4 minutes.
Yeah, Goomba's just going to be like, sorry. That was unfortunate.
Yeah, the portal route that he took was a really nice route, but then the boots just ended up being in the spot you would get to if you had normally just done the standard South and Link's House play.
Yeah.
That's just rando for you.
Yeah, one of the things I harp on a lot in commentary is you want to evaluate decisions not based on what actually happened, but what was the expected value of that play.
Absolutely.
Speaking of which, zelgadissan is got spat out at Bumper Ledge, one of the more important connectors to find, and decided to bunny walk a little bit. I think walking up to Dark Lumberjack is a pretty common play if you get it spat out sort of in that general direction.
Yeah.
And
sorry, I was just going to say, it gives you the time. You get the time to mark it on your tracker and check a kind of inconvenient entrance when you get spit out that bumper cave top.
And then found a dark cave. And dealing with dark caves as a bunny is not a tremendous amount of fun. But I'm pretty sure he figured out which dark cave it was and decided he wasn't interested in following it.
And so we're seeing a bit of a different play here. Goomba is electing to go into Eastern Palace and get these 4 items that he can get right away.
So zelgadissan is famous for hitting Eastern dips, and so this might be playing the man for Goomba, because if there's something here that's good, that could be a big advantage for Goomba.
Yeah, especially if it's something that you need eventually. Like, the worst case is always like Big Key of Eastern. It's like you need it eventually, and you're never gonna find. That's the thing that puts you back in here. If it's something that's hard bottlenecky, then Zelda will get back here.
Yeah. I mean, the best case for Goomba, 5 minutes ago would have been that like the boots or something is in here. Something that saves a bunch of time but doesn't lock a tremendous amount of the game. I have never seen someone do bomb setups for Stalfos from before.
Can't say I have either.
I was going to say, I guess that works, but he screwed it up, so...
And meanwhile, while Goomba is in Eastern, Zelga is checking out the Eastern entrances. He found the Mire Shed, but it wasn't too interesting in terms of the items in there.
And with a sword and boots, these guys get to run around, go real fast.
And there's that last desert entrance.
I mean, desert is a tedious connector, and so you're I guess kind of fine with finding the various entrances from the outside. But every time you leave a connector behind and then find the other entrance of it somewhere else that you've gone to go check an entrance, you're like, god damn it.
Yeah.
Why didn't I just go through here earlier? Also, apparently, Goomba wants to leave Eastern and got the unfortunate heart refill there.
Yeah, I don't think he checked the Agina entrance yet. So there with the boots though, they have that one. If the runners want to get to Hobo, they could always water walk from that Ice Rod Cave connector. I always like to see those water walks used in these entrance modes.
Yeah, and it's fine, right? It saves a little bit, but both of the runners bomb jumping their way out of Spec Rock, but Zelga at least gets to go back in if he wants.
He's probably going to do King's Tomb first.
Yep. And
oh, this is good for Zelda, because this is not an easy location to get back to.
Green Pendant Maw is a bit unfortunate for their final completion time, because generally speaking, the back Skull Woods is pretty freaking quick and pretty easy.
Yeah, they've already found it even, or at least Zelda did.
Yeah. Though it wouldn't surprise me to see if we don't see both of them completed at some point, just for the couple of items, given that it's green. All
Yeah, absolutely.
Zelgadissan fortunately gets to go back into Spec Rock, and show us the real exit.
Yeah, because at this point we're really looking for our next progression, because we've seen most of the Light World entrances at this point. I'm trying to even think which ones we haven't seen between the two runners, and also a lot of the entrances. But we've got a lot of bunny walks available, and that's not ever fun.
Per Zelga's entrance tracker, he hasn't seen those East F Mountain entrances, but also West F Mountain. A West F Mountain connector would be nice to find.
Yes. I guess the main entrances we have left is the ones like the Hylia Island and the waterfall.
Yep.
And there's that Hyrule Castle small key, which is great when it's Ganon locking the pyramid, or the back escape, I mean.
I wouldn't be surprised to see some, the moment that they find Hyrule Castle, to see them do escape from the front.
Also got the lamp there, and none of that's in logic. That's all blocked by the Moon Pearl. Also, this connector we saw earlier, this takes you back to Kakariko. So it looks like Zelda wants to go back to Kakariko, probably for Aga Tower, because I think that's really the only thing left. But I guess now he's just using it for routing.
I appreciate it when runners have good enough memory for which connector is which. Zelda doesn't, in fact, have them marked on his tracker. Just as connector marked, but he remembered which one was which. And when you find the other entrance to a connector for the second time, or get back to a connector, remembering to use it, makes me happy.
Yeah,
makes me happy to see players being smart. Sorry.
Yeah, I just say that's one of my favorite things to see in Crosskeys is the unconventional routes that runners can take through the seed, because no one ever can calculate, is it faster to go through this random house connector to get to this other random house, or to do the standard way of getting to that area. So it's just got to really be thinking on the fly. Yeah.
One of the things that I really notice about these top tier runners, for the most part, is that their games tend to really flow. They do things and they lead into other things and they lead into other things. Whereas I think a lot sort of less practiced runners, they go and they do a thing and they save and quit, and then they go and they do a thing and then they save and quit. So Goomba saw this sword in the library some time ago. Unfortunately, just before he got his boots. So we'll see when he makes time to go and pick it up, because the Master Sword is worth having.
Yeah, for sure, this early. They got a chat pointing out Zelda could do even Mothula, and the Master Sword makes it even nicer to do that, though I don't think you'd see him rush that. Though one thing is, Goomba might come back here for this connector relatively soon. I don't know if we did the bottom one here.
That's a good question. Yeah, it's like comprehensively out of logic, that out of logic Moth.
Yes. We need 3 Skullwood Smalls and the Moon Pearl and the Fire Rock.
Yes. Well, and even if the lamp counted, it was on Laser Bridge in the Dark World. So Goomba's come back for Aga Tower. Unfortunately, before picking up the Master Sword. Sigh. Turns out you have to hit people with an awful lot of times with a little plastic sword before they die. Which is an interesting play before, the water, or the Lake Hylia Island and the waterfall and Zora. Zora, who's in logic 3 times.
Yeah, with the glove and the mitts and the other mitt or glove. And just a 20 in that dark chest over of Aga Tower. Sometimes
This is
it's quite annoying taking the death warp in the dark here.
Goomba has picked up an unfortunately large number of hearts for someone that's trying to kill themselves repeatedly.
I'm interested to see where Goomba's headed here because he wants to be somewhere over here because he didn't save and quit, but I don't know what else is in this area. Ah, okay. I didn't even see this. They must have gone in here pretty quickly.
I think this is just as you were explaining to me what was going on. They were in roughly this area in Kakariko. Goomba always makes one attempt at hovering. I think we'll see him call it a day.
Yeah, I think he's gonna maybe even take that portal again because that can get you over to the Zora area.
And picks up a blue potion while in the vicinity of in the magic shop. Might as well do some actual shopping.
Yeah, Goomba does still have. He knows where Pod is. He only get the vanilla big key chest, so he has plenty to do in there. So it's always nice to have a potion before you're going back over to Pod.
Yeah, I mean, potion glitch faster than mimic clipping, even if you're good at mimic clipping. Speaking of which, Zelda has found Hyrule Castle. I didn't see if he checked connectors before taking this death warp. I assume so, because going out and in the light world is much faster than getting beat up by guards. But
yeah, I don't know. I think he had a bunch. I don't know where he got here, but like maybe he wants to take the death there because you want to. Well, there's two reasons. Number one, it makes taking the death warp out of Dark Cross easier, and two, you might get locked out of the other connectors.
It's true. So that was a bunny walk to, I think, Bomb Shop. And I didn't see how he got to South Dark World, but yeah, here's Goomba off to go pick up his sword.
Oh, it was probably Spectacle Rock Bottom was a connector to that general area. Not Spectacle Rock, Paradox Bottom, sorry.
And
the interesting thing about these Hyrule Castle lines is they could just be in logic even if they're like an unaccessible light world entrance, like something like Mimic Cave or something. If there's a Mimic Cave connector here, these would be in logic because you can go out and come back in.
Yeah. Or more relevantly / famously, Desert Palace Right, which is the most useless place to get to.
Yeah, and that one's guaranteed to have a connector somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, the odds are much better of that one being one. So Goomba is choosing to do Waterfall and Sora before checking the Ice Palace entrance, which I think is absolutely correct. But we'll see if I'm intrigued about that entrance.
Yeah, I think it does make sense. It's got to be on your mind a little bit because if you got a bunch of long bunny walks on the table, you don't want to just leave that one there and have that one be the answer.
Yeah. Well, it's both relatively quick to get to and blocked by a bunch of stuff. It is like kind of weird to have this early. There's a small key on the ledge there, so it's fortunate we have flippers to go get it because sometimes setting up fifth flipper here can be a pain.
Just some bombs over here on the Zora today, and only $20 in Dark Cross, but we still got a whole back of escape here.
Yeah, we actually get to see these rooms with rats in them that we never see. It's worth noting that all this stuff would have been kind of dangerous in the dark. Because zelgadissan is currently in the Dark World, these are like evil death crickets, and not harmless little rats. So.
Yeah, you saw them take 2 Master Sword slashes, and they hit him and did 2 hearts. And yeah, the lamp really paying dividends here because it lets Zelda set up a really quick death warp. And you probably don't even go back here in the Dark World. You probably try to fish for a light world connector if you're doing it in the dark with low equipment.
On the other hand, nothing back here. Speaking of which, Goomba does check the Ice Palace entrance, and it was a fairy, and so I'm sad.
Yeah, definitely worth checking, but unfortunately not the answer today.
Yeah. And here's Zelga seeing if the castle was in logic, and also to see if these connectors are good. There's the mountain connector.
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier. That was really likely. It's really likely our answer is here because we just got basically 10 free Light World entrances.
Yeah. Misery Mire's up here, which we can get into, and we even have an out of logic lamp. But Zelga's not keen on doing that until the rest of the entrances get checked.
Yeah,
There's
I think he might be interested in going there. Is that a bow? Oh, nice.
A bow at Hobo.
Hobo bow. But yeah, I think Zelga might be interested in doing that Mire because you're down to not very many Light World options left. He has the Smile Malky, he has the lamp, so he can do the checks about as efficiently as possible.
Yeah, and the boots running around, walking around Mire sucks. So, hey, it's the Thieves' Town Small Key, which is as yet completely useless, but
nice to find early.
It's a much more surprising vanilla small key than the Wanted Pot or French vanilla. And it's worth mentioning. I mean, it's late in the tournament, but that if the only way up to the mountain is via a bunny walk, that's totally in logic. I'm pretty sure there was no dark caves or anything on the way, so Zelga's totally allowed to be here. Swamp Small.
Yep, Swamp Small. So another one of those things where we've already found the dam and the flippers and the Swamp Small. So definitely be interested in those first two Swamp Palace items if they were to come across that dungeon.
And unlike in other modes in Crosskeys, it's trivial to check them. So.
Yeah, with the dam staying pulled, you just walk in and it's really quick. You don't have to mirror and then pull the dam and then go back in. None of that. Just go in and get it.
Pull the dam, watch the very excited cutscene.
And still nothing on this mountain. There's been some promising entrances, but nothing, not the answer yet.
Yeah. I guess some dungeons had to turn up sooner or later. But yeah, Thieves' Town was more or less a blank, at least for immediate progress. Brothers take us to the top of East Death Mountain, which is a good place to find. A small key on the island is a little bit less exciting than it was a minute ago because we found the small key to the swamp, which is the most obnoxious possible small key.
Yeah, and even finding the small key to Thieves is another one that can be quite annoying to find. So Thieves' Town gifting us with two of the more prized small keys.
I mean, the Thieves' Town one is effectively a fetch quest. It's like the Ice Palace Big Key or whatever.
Yeah, it's just that it feels so bad if you have to leave it behind, and you just love getting it out of the way.
Yeah, the fact that the big chest is buried so far into the dungeon is kind of obnoxious.
And I guess Goomba looks like he picked up a third pod small key, so he'll be able to do all of the chests except Helmasaur and the big chest here because he already checked the vanilla big key chest. Now, none of this is in logic, but it still could be something useful. And when you're at 3, you're starting to think about, okay, maybe there's just one in some terrible location and my progression is here.
Yeah, 4 gets you to the back. We don't have a lamp in logic, so the dark basement is 2 things from being available, but it's also just worth knowing which places the keys might be, or the locking item might be. Sometimes working the logic from the back is the easier way to figure it out. Zelgadissan having real troubles with the block pushing game, trying to like only push the blocks for the minimum number of frames and screwing it up at least twice that I saw there, which is unlike him. Yeah, it feels like cheating to do this room with the lamp.
Yeah, I always hate doing that room with the lamp. So one thing I want to say about Goomba's pod play, it's kind of like, okay, you came in here with 2 pod smalls, your opponent probably came in here with 2 pod smalls too. So I kind of see this as like a defensive play, because he elected to safe scum the key, but we want to just make sure that even though this can't be his logical progression, you want to make sure it's okay. And also, there's the Cane of Samaria in Misery Mire right there.
Yeah. In the Firelock part of Misery Mire.
Yeah.
Which is out of logic.
Still need 2 more small keys and a logical fire source.
Yeah.
That hammer,
on the other hand, that hammer is big in logic.
Yep, you need either the big or 1 small, and we've got 1 small, so that's in logic.
I like this use of the Samaria block to keep the fire snake out of the way while setting up the rail clip. That was
very good.
That was cute.
Good situational knowledge, because he just picked up that cane. Sometimes even if you know about that idea, if you just pick up an item, you gotta be thinking on your toes to use it right away like that.
Well, the thing that always gets me is like, where is it in my stupid quick swap? it's in here somewhere, I promise.
And then you end up using Bombo's Medallion instead.
Yeah. I've seen more than one runner like accidentally fluting or jeez.
Geez, this is totally loaded Misery Mire.
So that's hammer and moon pearl, and 2 gloves.
And then
I guess we've got
inconvenient heart refill.
Yeah, again. I guess we've got Dark World access.
Yeah, I think that's much better, because actually the hammer there was what it gives them. With the hammer and the cane, Zelda could have taken that Corling Brothers connector back to the top of the mountain, dash over to Hera, and then jump down to Turtle Rock Front. But having Dark World access is a more appealing option. He's probably still going to do at least part of what I just described, but he has better options too now.
Yeah. And here's Goomba setting off on the bunny walk that will lead him to the mountain. And both the runners are a little bit excited to do bunny walk, more excited to do bunny walks than they would have been if they hadn't found the mountain. Just because that sort of means that more things in the Dark World can pay off.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if they had the same map as they had with the mountain full cleared, then there's not very much value in the mountain. Like, you could find a connector to somewhere like Desert for 1 extra entrance, or you're just basically fishing for some of those bunnyable items. That's never fun when you just have to find hammer pegs or hype cave for your moon pearl in the Dark World. And we see Zelda actually faced with the rare true 50-50 between between Spiral Cave and Fairy Ascension, because he already did the Titan's Mix block one.
Fairy Ascension, clearly the right answer. You're much more likely to get spat out on... Well, I mean, not much more likely, but you're more likely to get spat out on Turtle Rock Bridge with a mirror than you are at... the Turtle Rock safety door with a mirror, because there's more ways to get there. So.
That's true. There's twice as many. Though it feels kind of like less twice, because there's one guaranteed each, and then there's one maybe.
Yeah, but it's not quite twice, but it's still more.
Yes.
Zelgadissan does the rail hop to go out the other, to follow the connector before, or I guess we can go this way.
Just didn't want to use the Cane of Samaria, I guess.
I think that he did the rail bonk, and then he sort of like stood around for a second, and I wonder if that was like, I guess we can just go this way. And when he realized he could / should be going in rather than just checking the connector. Ether, I approve. Ether plus hammer kills pokies, and the rest of his loadout is not great at that. we'll see Goomba doing back of escape here for a bit. We know that there's nothing exciting here, so.
Yeah, it's nice to get it out of the way and not have to worry about doing Ganon with getting the Hyrule Castle key already, but not worth it in terms of the actual item to get.
No, and in terms of our viewers, watch zelgadissan. He's doing things that we haven't seen before.
And we just got a nice clear out of the middle of Turtle Rock here from Zelga, but nothing too useful.
Man, now with the Moon Pearl, we can do things. They go to Crystal Roller Room this way, which I guess is faster. Pretty marginal.
It's just he can't. He isn't the big key. It's the only way to get
Right. Yep, you're right.
This is one of the most annoying chests sometimes because it's so weird that with Lamp and Cane and Turtle Laser Bridge entrance, you sometimes just forget about it. Now the Lamp's still not in Logic without the invincibility item, but you could just find one of those anywhere.
Yeah. We're not waiting on that. Especially considering that does Goomba have the? No, okay. I missaw. There's invincibility items out there, and the fact that they had to get written into Logic basically exactly for that check and also Spike Cave is kind of silly.
And there's that top of Bumper Cave entrance, so we won't need the mirror to check that, which is nice. It can be sometimes annoying to walk back to that connector.
Yeah, I mean it's Mimic Cave's more awkward, or Mimic Cave entrance's more awkward brother. So what has Goomba done that Zelga hasn't done that can distract Zelga in the future? Because right now it sort of seems in a linear fashion that Zelga's just straight up ahead.
Goomba did Eastern. That's the main thing I can think of off the top of my head. And then Zelga just got the boots let Zelga route in King's Tomb a lot quicker, because so Goomba had to kind of just walk up there on his own.
And the library at the Ice Red area.
Yeah.
So Chad is quite right that Goomba has the bow from the hobo.
Yeah, the Zora area entirely, Zelda has not done.
Yeah, well, but I feel like with all this Dark World access, Zelda could be quite a while before he gets around to checking the hobo.
Yeah, I think so too. Unless you find the mirror and you can just get him when they have easy to get access to the pod area, but you probably want to hopefully get the mirror and get there.
Yeah. Speaking of pod, there's another pod small.
So that is the fourth between these two runners. Yeah, it looks like Zelga's going to go back to Aghanim's Tower here to get the two chests. Goomba did get these already as well.
Yeah, in the dark with the fighter sword.
Yeah, these chain guards, they actually take the same amount from Master Sword slashes, so you want to either use spins in the hammer like Zelga's here.
The damage tables in this game are highly dubious.
Yeah, basically any light world enemy that they didn't want to be a pushover, it has a weird damage table. I guess the red cards are the exception, but like Igor's, any light world boss, the ball and chain guards, and even mimics.
Yeah, it's hard to tell if it's oversight or deliberate for some of them. Like, why do we need to care what the tempered sword damage is on this light world enemy?
Yeah, I think a lot of it was just wanting to make fire sword spins not do additional damage, which seems a little weird because then like you go through half the game and the spins don't do extra damage to most enemies, so you don't think they're good, but then they actually are really good. Yeah,
yes. I just want to comment on Goomba using the picking up a bomb to run up the ladder on Death Mountain faster, and then got stuck at the top of the mountain due to some missed inputs. Was amusing to me. Goomba being indecisive, which is definitely not the fastest thing to do.
Yeah, because he's at the point where you just don't have that much stuff left, so you kind of think, okay, what do I want to do here? But it looks like we know he needs to get to Meyer.
Well, and he correctly remembered that getting back over to Death Mountain is a giant pain in the butt. So making that very committal hop down to the drop down, if it didn't pay off, was going to be terrible. And there's a bunch of checks in here. So.
Yeah, and it's definitely, I think it's a pretty easy play to dip this Meyer here because one, like you mentioned, it's really bad to get back here, and two, there's just not that many things that they have left. And even as a third thing, they can just clear it out pretty efficiently.
Yeah. It's a fairly non-linear dungeon in that the checks aren't really along the path to the boss, and so it's a less bad dungeon to multi-dip. Right, like if you're doing Go Mode Meyer, you still have to do with the room with the wizards, but then you can just run straight to the back and it's fine.
Yeah, it's not like Eastern where you basically just have to go through the dungeon twice if you double dip it. You're kind of doing 1.3 times of the dungeon if you double dip it.
Yeah. Zelda heading to the shopping mall area.
Yeah, because now with the items and connectors that Zelda has, you're basically just clearing out the Dark World as efficiently as you can now.
Yeah, ZelgaDissan has access to almost all of the entrances in the game, with his current loadout. So.
Yeah, main exceptions being Meyer area and the Mirror Lock entrances.
And Skullwoods 3.
Yep. That Desert Palace small key, I think that's actually a pretty convenient time to get it because Desert Palace is a good access to the left side of Dark World. So you can take a connector to get there. I mean, you have the regular Dark World access to get there too, but might be a nice time to route it in.
Boom doesn't do the rail clip. I don't know how much time that rail clip actually saves, but it kind of surprises me that he didn't do it there.
I do know that if you can't get it pretty consistently first try, that you lose time. So it's not a significant amount.
Pearl's certainly in logic in the spike room. It's pretty low requirements to get this chest. I think it's only it might be one of the hearts that they got is required, yeah. But
the good old progression heart container may be coming into play there.
But I haven't actually looked at the code for that room in a while.
Because you can get it with 3 hearts, but you just die.
Yeah, you need I think it's an invincibility item or the magic progression heart.
And they have picked up, as you can see, Goomba having 13 hearts this early. They've picked up plenty of hearts, so the odds of getting that one progressive one seems pretty good.
Kind of sad that the logical heart isn't Sank Heart, just because then you would have a little bit more information.
Yeah, because you would actually know when you got it most of the time.
Yeah. So, yeah, it turns out Turtle Rock Bridge has 2 connectors on it today, which is not a given. And so, having found it through a connector, ZelgaDissan is going to go out the other side, find out where the other way gets to.
A race game connector, that's another rare one. So that's the second mirror locked entrance that they've gotten connected to this seed.
Yeah. Apparently we saw a race game earlier and it was nothing. So
yeah, $20 earlier. They both checked in.
YOLOing, like, never mind. I don't want to play your game.
All right, so we're gonna get to see now the Skullwoods and West Dark World from Zelda. Goomba kind of just doing all the stuff that Zelda did 3 minutes ago.
Yeah. Once he gets the open world part of the game, use your ether, Goomba. It's faster than this.
Yeah, those Pokey can get quite annoying. My favorite strat I've seen for killing them is using the ice rod to freeze one of the floating heads and then chuck the floating head at it.
Does the floating head do like tempered sword damage or something?
Yeah, it does tempered sword. So if you come in here with like no sword and ice rod, it's a good option.
Anytime the ice rod is actually useful, it makes me happy.
And Skullwoods over here, it's always pretty nice. Once you have Dark World access, you can just come here for some basically free items that don't really require much else. But it's always the gamble of like when, first of all, is it going to be a nice Skullwoods layout like it is today, and you don't have to save and quit out of it, or do you want to leave behind like the fire locked chest?
That
was a full map check there with crystals on ice, or pendants on ice and Skullwoods, and a red on Thieves, and I think it was green. We already know about Grand Pendant Skullwoods.
That's full info for Goomba.
Yeah, that's a lot of maps this early.
By the way, I appreciate the new quality of life improvement with the like auto map check when you go into a dungeon.
Yeah, it makes maps in the Crosskeys modes, or any map shuffle mode, much rarer because you just walk, especially entrance, because you're just walking into the dungeon and never check it. Though with as many maps as Goomba had, you definitely can see why you did one there.
Oh, is it? I thought it was only turned on if you had the map.
It does, yes. Okay. But like, so if you're just getting your maps piecemeal, then you just check it as you go, and you don't ever have to do a map check. But when you get like 6 maps like Goomba does, then it made sense to check it.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's interesting because it definitely changes the dynamic. Because like if you're just playing in a non-map shuffle mode, it's basically just an accessibility feature for people who are either have their sound off or don't have perfect hearing. That you get the information for free, but it does change a little bit in the Crosskeys modes.
I like it from a like I didn't do my map check before I ran into the dungeon, like quality of life thing. And Wally in chat apparently disagrees and thinks that everybody should get punished for not doing their map check before they go into a dungeon that they're not sure if they want a full clear. But I don't know.
I am a hater of viewing the map check, so I like it.
I am a hater of trying to commentate on people doing map checks because I always miss them. Like,
you gotta have the restream window open. It makes you look like a magician. I totally missed when Goomba saw it the first time, but then I was ready for it the second time.
No, I basically told myself to stop worrying about it. The trackers were awesome a year ago, and it made my it improved my self-worth.
All right, so I think Zelda is heading over to the desert entrance to check that small key and then continue his Dark World route.
He also got a book. Apparently not tempted to go and use it yet, but
yeah, it's a really big commitment to do just the desert entrance because you get locked in, and yeah, you have to be pretty desperate to go there for literally just the book entrance.
Yep. Especially as mentioned, this is a useful connector, and it's 2 checks. So
Yeah. And that doesn't. This could just be nothing. You could check with mirror later.
Another GT small. We haven't found GT yet. And we couldn't really do anything in there if we had. Never mind.
Yeah, that now Ice Armos is available. Though he's not in Logic yet because that Canis Amari is locked by 3 Meyer small keys, and also the lamp is not in Logic. So we know for sure, or the lamp is in Logic now. I guess just not withstanding the invincibility items. But that Fire Rod is actually lamp locked.
Yeah.
And here's Swamp Palace. We no hook shot. See how far he wants to go in here.
Was that the Gull Big? Or Swamp Big? Okay.
The Swamp Big they got earlier. It was the blind side. There's another big key.
Both runners are going to be a little bit sad to see that Turtle Rock big key. Maybe Goomba won't have done all the checks there yet, but
no, he did the same thing that Zelda did. He went back to Crystal Roller as well.
Yeah, he'll make another trip up there to get the big chest. But fine, I'll go do your stupid fetch quest, and I'll feel bad about it.
Yeah, because there really isn't anything else up on the mountain. You kind of hope that they're only Ice Rod away from, or no, they have the Ice Rods. Zelda must have picked that up somewhere. So Zoo could just go up there and clear Trinex.
If
they do TR as their first dungeon, I'll be impressed.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be too surprising. It's just a matter of getting back up there because they have Skullwoods is fully clearable, but they know that's a pen.
Well, and
is also clearable.
It's also Trinex is a better play than it seems because I don't think they found this front of Turtle Rock yet.
They did. It's on the East Death Mountain. I think Zelda even did the first chest, the spike one.
Okay.
But with the way Turtle Rock is laid out, so you go to Hookshot Cave, get the big chest, immediately leave, do Laser Bridge, beat Trinex, and then do the Fire Rod Lock side on East Death Mountain.
Well, yeah, you just gotta teleport it over there, get to the Fire Lock stuff. Using the Trinex warp to your advantage is something that makes me feel smart, even if it's not necessarily optimal.
Yeah, it's always nice to just get through Turtle Rock really quickly by beating Trinex. I've even had one seed where just beating Trinex was probably the fastest way to get to where the front of Turtle Rock is, due to having like the flute and stuff. It's like, is it faster to beat Trinex or go backwards through Laser Bridge to get to this location?
Yeah, Chest Cam had Ice Rod and Pottery.
Yeah, because I'm thinking that it's definitely possible that Turtle Rock would be the first boss, because you just take the Spectacle Rock connector to the top of Death Mountain and you beat Turtle Rock. Though I guess the main thing is you can't get back to Thieves Town from over there. If they found the hook shot, though, they could combo that over to Thieves Town, which is by where the mountain is on the west side.
It wouldn't surprise me if we see Zelda after this quite thorough swamp dip, actually. Go and start beating some dungeons. We're an hour in. Time to we have some completable crystal dungeons. Let's go do that.
All right, so left side, nothing. Not looking anything too crazy today.
And that was Zelda trying to take a death warp off of the little water splooshes. It was gonna take a while. So
yeah,
correctly goes.
This isn't an easy place to take a death warp. I mean, Swamp Palace. Sorry.
Yeah, I make that. I do that all the time. You're not allowed to also do that all the time because
the SW man, it's impossible to get them straight.
We should ask for some usability improvements on these stupid names.
Yeah, rename Swamp Palace or Skullwoods.
I don't know where Goomba picked up his bottle.
I would say most likely Eastern.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that too earlier.
Zelda doesn't have one, and he found Sick Kit. That would be a way for Goomba to make some catch-ups.
Yeah. Because like we were saying, the not dipping Eastern really hurts you when it's an item you need that doesn't block that much stuff. Like in a bottle, the single bottle for Sick Kit having something would definitely fit that.
Yeah, unfortunately for that dream scenario, the odds are that there's another bottle somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't call it a dream scenario. I would hate to win a race because there's one bottle in the whole seed and Sick Kit has some major progression.
No, you wouldn't. You'd be perfectly happy with that, especially against zelgadissan. Famous Eastern Palace boycotter. You would feel smart because you had done Eastern and he didn't. Chicken Hut reminds me that we should thank the rest of the volunteers today. Norinato is our restreamer who went and found me as the emergency co-com. Scott G and Liberal are clicking the buttons and reminding me what happened. So thanks, guys. And is Seiryu just typing things in chat despite not being things in chat despite not personally being a volunteer? Thanks, Seiryu. All right. Battle room time.
Yep, there's Ganon's Tower over in the chess game entrance with the Fire Rod and the Hammer and the Canis Mario. I'm sure we'll see quite a bit of this done by Zelda, because you can steal the key from the right side, though maybe, I don't know if you need to with 3, because he can bomb jump the stuff on the left, especially with boots.
There's basically one excess key always in GT, because there's the door that connects the left side and the right side. And so if you just don't open that, your life is fine.
Yep, never open the idiot door. So actually, if you have all 4 keys, sometimes it can be worth it.
Yeah, no. I think occasionally you should open the idiot door. Like, if you have all the keys before you turn up here the first time, and you, check Hope Room and then bail to go to the left side, that's fine. But most people don't remember that they can do that. I think most people's map of GT no longer includes that door. Nice block kick there.
Yep, it looks like Goomba's going to make his way over to this same Ganon's Tower, though with less items, he's going to be forced to do the bomb jump to get to Ice Armor. He won't be able to get these 4 unless he wants to do the lamp bomb jump.
Oh, jeez.
And there's Zelda setting up the red Heart Beetle does a lot more damage than trying to set up a Death Warp in here, so definitely a good play there.
Yep.
The green, not finding any mail upgrades for Zelda has been pretty nice, because whenever you have the mirror this late, you're setting up so many Death Warps, and if you get red mail and 14 hearts, it's hard to set up those Death Warps.
Yeah, Goomba is mad because somebody gave him nicer armor. Gah! Keep this terrible armor. Makes it harder to die.
And there was another bottle, so no more dream about the bottle being required.
Yeah. Which I probably could, but...
Yeah, definitely good for this race being a nice competitive race.
So, zelgadissan on the first trip was going to do bonks to get over here, and then screwed up the bonks and decided bomb jumps were easier? I don't understand.
Well, you have to do one bomb jump either way, so if you're really practicing that bomb jump, which I would say that the bomb jump Zelda did is harder than the just regular vertical one you can do here, but I can see it.
Fair. I just find it funny that he changed his mind.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was Goomba deciding... No, that was just going to get the hammer. killing time for the Wallmaster's turn up.
Yeah, I think it just makes too much sense to come here and sequence break these with the boots. It's pretty simple.
Apparently, Zelga is too cool for Bloomerang strats.
Well, he doesn't have the hook shot for that room. That room,
That's fair, yeah.
The red meringue is better if you don't have the hook shot.
I am not good enough to the Bloomerang strats in that room. So, I should practice that on the long list of things I should practice. We're up to 5 pod smalls on Goomba's side. I'm pretty sure Zelga has one that Goomba doesn't have.
No, Zelda did have one that Goomba didn't have, but that was.
But Goomba picked it up?
Yeah. Goomba
Okay.
picked it up. A Meyer small being there is a little interesting just because the cane is locked by 3 of them.
Both of these guys having a surprising amount of trouble with with these bonks and.
Yeah, interesting to go for the bomb jump on that one because you can bonk it.
Yeah, it's not like Goomba's going to run out of health, so.
Yeah, he's just setting up for a death orb later.
Zelga getting back his sword beams in case he somehow doesn't kill Armos with a bar and a half of Burna. Then.
Yeah, Cane of Burna here is the Master Sword Armos Knight's fight is quite annoying, so it's very good to have either Sword Beams or Cane of Burna.
Yeah. Yes, going back to data tables or damage tables in this game are nonsense.
Yeah, the Master Sword does less damage on the Armos Knight's is the one that gets me the most because it just does less damage than the Fighter Sword. So Big Key of Ice Palace is interesting there. We still haven't found Ice Palace, but it does make the dip of it more logical and also make it so you don't have to leave behind the big chest. But it is a pendant.
Mm-hmm. And ZelgaDissan making the absolutely correct judgment that he's got setting up a Death Warp is definitely not worth his time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I actually feel like I mean, I understand it from like a sitting and thinking point of view, but a reasonable number of runners make Death Warp, I think, more aggressively than actually saves time. Right, like their default way to get out of dungeons without a mirror is to Death Warp, even when they can just walk.
Yeah, it definitely is. Sometimes it's nice to know like how long it takes to get out of certain places in dungeons.
Alright, so here's another place that another MITS check that they get to do relatively early. Well, going into Ice Palace with 2 or 3 fire rod shots, a bit unfortunate. But
yeah, you kind of hope that the Penguins aren't going to drop magic because they're in the same drop pack as the Pickles, which we saw way earlier on are the Rupees. So I don't know if they're going to be able to get magic in this dungeon.
You can get a little bit. There's the restock room all the way at the bottom.
Though if you Icebreaker without hitting the switch, then you're not going to keep.
Yep.
Oh wait, so one thing that you have to use magic to do it, but you could, with the half magic, you could freeze the blobs. Because the one thing about Ice Palace is it's hard to get the stun prize in here, because the hookshot just KOs a lot of things. So they don't even have that. I don't know what Boomerang stuns here or not. But you can use the stun prize to get some magic.
With the powder.
But yeah, I think Zelda hit this switch here because of his magic situation. Because if he doesn't hit the switch, then he can't get to the restock room, which with half magic, without Bombo's medallion, he's going to need at least half magic bead here to beat Cold Stare.
Yeah, and he can't even get bailed out by getting half magic again.
Nope.
Though I don't remember what's in his bottles.
He didn't buy anything from it, so I know Goomba has that blue potion he bought earlier, but I don't think Zelda has any potions.
Good. I don't suppose the bee breaks the ice on Cold Stare, huh?
You know what? I've never tried, but I would say probably not.
I wish the bee was useful. Like just. Oh, apparently there's a bunch of magic in this room that
Yeah, I
nobody
didn't
ever
know
picks
there
up.
was magic up there. That's a good thing to know now.
Yeah. These dudes with really, I knew about that one, but with really excellent knowledge of what's underneath every damn pot.
Yeah, because you need enough magic to kill these Freezors too. Meyer Big Key, very nice. So definitely needed to do this dip.
Yep. Meyer also reasonably accessible.
And the Goomba has found Hype Cave. Got a couple of small keys from here so far from Meyer and Turtle Rock. Nothing else too interesting.
15th heart, an hour and 20 in. And bothers to get kisses from the old man.
Yeah, you just gotta have those sword beams when you're walking around.
Which even took noticeably longer because he's got so many hearts. What do we need still? Zelda needs a bow,
Hook shot.
hook, and a couple of keys, right? And probably mirror and or flute.
Yeah, because we haven't found Tower Pair and there are not very many options for it to be somewhere. So, Chad asking about Fire Rod and Bow. Fire Rod is on Desert Right, which the small key is over here. Goomba will be getting that soon. And then the bow is on Hobo, which we don't know when Zelda will get back there because he just he's had so much other stuff to do. Because I think if I'm Zelda right now, I definitely think about going up to the mountain right now. There's Meyer and Thieves Town up there that he can full clear both of them.
And at least one of the ways into Turtle Rocks. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just he can't.
Did either of them go out Laser Eye entrance?
Yes, it is the Death Mountain Descent bottom. So the one that near from.
Oh yeah. The Southwest Death Mountain Foothills Cave. Come on. No, that's. So Ice Palace contained only a pendant, which is a third of a check, and Misery Mire Big.
Yeah, which is definitely something you need. So Goomba will have to get back there at some point.
Yeah.
Though I think maybe the Fire Rod would draw him back there because then you can do right side GT and Ice Palace. Because it's not that easy to get back to that spot. And this seed, it's kind of like not having the mirror for so long has been kind of inconvenient for how they've had to route this seed. There are some really nice routes they'd be able to do if they had the mirror, but not today.
Zelga's kills his own bee. I assume he's going somewhere near the potion shop in a moment. Yeah, the routing convenience of having early mitts, early boots is being slowly offset by the flute in the mirror. And eventually they're going to get another Turtle Rock Small. Hit the mirror and have to come back and make all these one-off checks.
Yeah, because it's looking like this seed is going to be like you beat your dungeons, you somewhere get either the mirror or the food or both, and then you just go on a Tower of Hera hunt as soon as you find whatever gives you more entrances, because you need to find that entrance anyway, and maybe you'll find your go-one items along the way.
Zelgadissan taking the frog through Spiral Cave.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen this yet, so it's probably going to be like Desert Rite.
Well done, sir.
Yeah,
Well
it's not, if you keep track well enough, you look like you're a fortune teller.
It's the problem with turning up late. My door tracker was doomed before I even started, so I didn't even try.
And this is a good time to get this. That Desert Rite's pretty convenient because it's pretty much the only time when you'd want to do this entrance until you get the mirror and the flute.
Yep. I mean, getting spat out there once is fine. No, and Goomba did check this earlier.
That's Bombos Medallion on the pedestal, so maybe required, but probably won't see it for quite a while.
If we need pedestal for nice chest turns, Zelga. If we need Bombos Medallion for Meyer Main for like Tower of Hera, that's a miserable seed. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is. Especially because Eastern, it's unlikely these runners are going to do Eastern anytime soon. With that being pendant, you could see them doing Skullwoods, and they already have. Zelga already has the one pendant, but I can't see him rushing to Eastern at any point until you get at least the big key and the bow.
Yeah.
And there's an unfortunate armor upgrade for Zelga and still not having the mirror.
Hey, at least he only has 13 hearts. Though they're not in the part of the seed anymore where they're excited to take a whole bunch of Death Warps, right? They've done a lot of their dipping at this point.
Yeah, when Zelga's going to be going into dungeons now, it'll be mainly to clear them.
And in addition to the mirror as a way to get out crystals and pendants, also magically teleport you to the front of the dungeon. So. Here's the
It looks like, yeah, Zelga's going to go to the mountain. This is still the best way to get to the mountain, and it's not a good one.
At least he has conventional Dark World access.
Yeah.
Which makes it very slightly better.
Yeah, because otherwise you have to walk to Kakariko to get to Hookshot Cave, or walk south from the north.
I mean, it's a substantial time savings, but it's still miserable, I guess, was the...
Yeah. But the good thing is there's 2 fully clearable crystals right here, so it's not a bad set of checks.
The old man save and quit points also weren't great. Kind of disappointing in a no flute scenario. So here's Goomba's Fire Rod in a moment.
Yeah, that's definitely... we'll see when he wants to take that over to something like Ice Palace or Right Side GT, because it really... I don't know if Goomba's been in Skullwoods yet, though. So, or no, I guess from there.
He was just there.
Yeah, feels a bit bad.
I was like, oh, Goomba's going back to Skullwoods. Maybe he can check Skullwoods 3. No.
He's gonna go. We'll see how far Goomba wants to go into this Swamp Palace. There's 2 big keys right in the front, and then nothing else in the rest.
Well, there's a crystal eventually, but not one we can get to.
And it looks like Goomba's going to make the same decision Zelda did and go deeper into Swamp Palace here.
Yeah, I can't tell if that's because this is the best thing on the menu from in Goomba's mind, or if this is like, I'm going to do this because I don't think that Zelda did, and I think I'm behind. Because either way,
the general layout of the seed plays into this. And there's the hook shot there in the big chest of thieves. So luckily the Thieves Town Small was playing nice today, because that could be a devastating check whenever there's a good item in there in a Crosskeys seed.
Yeah.
But today the Thieves Town Small is just in the first chest of Thieves Town. But what I was saying is I think that the reason both these runners elected to dip swap is because of the general layout of this seed. Like, the Thieves Town big is a nice thing to check, but getting back to Thieves Town is so bad. And also, getting back to this Swamp Palace isn't particularly great either, because there's no good way to get to Kakariko yet. And I guess the best way to get there is probably like the Desert Palace connector, and that's not great.
I mean, Desert is enough screen transitions that the best way there might just be to walk.
Yeah.
Like a jump. I guess run, because we have go fast to boots, but you know, it doesn't always have to be about fancy connectors in Crosskeys. You are allowed to sometimes just run through the overworld.
Yeah, running through the overworld and using normal Dark World, it's sometimes when you get your conventional Dark World access in a Crosskeys, like an hour and 20 in, you just kind of forget that's an option.
I kind of wish, as horrible as it would be, that they would add an option to randomize the Dark World portals.
That would be interesting, because what would even lock them, I guess? They could just have them sitting there in the wild.
I mean, like, still use the same... Do it like the drop-downs, right? Just randomize them amongst themselves. Which I think would unfortunately lead to the portal off of Death Mountain being really important and kind of obnoxious.
Yeah, that's like the whole reason that cross entrance exists, really, because the full entrance shuffle with the Dark World portal, requiring to walk up there to take one of those two connectors somewhere else in the Dark World was just a nightmare.
It's funny when it comes up in Mystery occasionally.
Yeah. Well, nowadays they have restricted. I don't know if they have just regular full as an option anymore.
I have an old build of Crossworld on my computer. I can make that happen.
So Zelda picked up a Tempered Sword also in the Big Chest of Mire, which is definitely appreciated. Not having a bow here for Biddy will make the damage boost strat or the cape dash strat more effective.
I see some cape dashing in Zelga's future. Missed Spooky. Missed Spooky twice. There we go.
Looks like we're going to see Goomba clear out Turtle Rock here.
So, the Spooky glitch is sufficiently mysterious that I can't tell if he screwed up the Fire Rod shot or screwed up the setup.
Yeah.
But it definitely did not work the first couple of times.
The one in the dungeon mystifies me for sure.
Apparently we're not having dash strats, we're just having cape strats.
Yeah, because I've seen the dash strats not consistently zero cycle, but with the spins you definitely can zero cycle.
Yeah, but you can also get it's like damage on the big eye as well.
Yeah. Especially with no bow. That comes into play more.
Alright, so Goomba's fulfilling my dream and beating Trenex as his first dungeon clear of the match. I don't know if it's correct, but it's hilarious.
Yeah, with the old man saving quit being where it is, it's kind of just do it whenever you want.
Welcome to people coming over from ZSR2. I don't know what you guys were watching, but this is the Crosskeys Tournament Semifinals, Game 1 between two excellent runners. Unfortunately for one of them, the other one got luckier or made better decisions. And so ZelgaDissan has a medium-sized lead at this point. Of course, something can always go horribly wrong, but for now, at least, it seems Zelda is winning. They both have quite a lot of stuff, but the dungeons are largely in terrible places, and so they have fewer dungeon clears than you might expect. But they're off to go fix that at this point.
Yeah, getting around this seed in general has been kind of annoying, just because everything's like spread out really far. There's nothing that's close to a save and quit. There's no flute. At least we have the boots, and you're not walking through this this long seed.
So I would be answering the question about when you can damage the big eye on commentary, except that I don't actually know the correct answer. I thought it was just whenever it was open, it was vulnerable.
Yeah, whenever it's out.
Yeah, all right. Chat is making very complicated explanations.
Yeah,
I
if
don't
you kill
think
the eyes,
can...
he comes out forever. But if he's out, you can hit him.
Just
you can't hit him with arrows, I don't think.
Yeah, and I don't think you could kill him. I think that he's got like the last hit point is protected. You'd have to try real hard to do that. Hey, there's the flute right side in the fire side of Turtle Rock.
Yeah, and honestly, that's going to help Goomba make up a lot of time, because he's not going to have to just saving the time of taking that connector chain that Zelda had to save. That's just a free minute. And there's a mirror there on Zelda's side. So two really big items right next to each other. I didn't even see where that spike cave was that Zelda did. But apparently Goomba has found his way over there as well. I missed it the second time too.
I feel bad for, I think it was Goomba that actually opened the front door to Turtle Rock. Was like, yeah, I get to open the front door to Turtle Rock super early, it's gonna be great! And then found out that the old man lived there. Like, ah.
And Zelda's gonna be getting his flute relatively shortly too with this, we'll do the same thing Goomba did. We're also going to get our first look at the top of Castle Tower today. And yeah, so we'll probably see both these runners do the same thing, because right now they need to find Tower Para to beat the game no matter what. So there you just do entrances until you find it. You might find some go mode items along the way. Once you find Tower Para, you can go back onto whatever you were thinking about doing before.
Especially with the two mobility items thrown in your lap in Goomba's case. The argument for doing dungeons before entrances before you have the mirror and or the flute is, or I guess the mirror and the flute is the other one might turn up. But now we are in flying around the world time.
Yep, so we're looking for the Tower of Hera entrance, and I think that's the pod big key. And then I guess Zelda needs a bow too, but he'll probably find that with the mirror now.
Yeah.
Oh, Desert Big as well, yeah. So we got two big keys that are hiding out there.
So with mirror in hand, Goomba he's heading back to Kakariko to turn on his flute, but can check K45 on the way. Almost forgot about that, and then had to run around in a slightly awkward way.
And I don't know if he saw the race game connector either, which actually would be good for him because we can get the he can get the Mimic Cave entrance as well.
Yeah, Goomba now real safe. Red mail 17 hearts.
Yeah, at least he has the mirror now. Doesn't have to worry about any death warps.
Time for some deboost strats. Oh, apparently we're gonna go check Bombo's tablet. Kind of surprised to see this happening before putting on the flute, picking up the purple chest.
And just a compass today.
Womp womp. With some excellent, old-timey wisdom that they got in there.
And we'll see if now I just gotta wonder when Zelda gets over to that bow, because you're gonna do all the entrances, and if another bow shows up, great. But otherwise, you gotta get to Hobo at some point.
So Goomba apparently already checked purple chest, which feels miserable. But remember, the shot connected back up to Kakariko, so that was actually some surprisingly detailed routing there.
Yeah, that was actually some pretty heads-up routing to go to Bombo's tablet and then take the hookshot gate connector like that to get back to Kakariko. Because you kind of have to remember about the mirror, using the mirror to get the connector.
Whereas zelgadissan is just running to Kakariko like a chump. And now we're going to go to Thieves Town.
Yep, so Goomba will get his hook shot, and then these runners will be... I mean, the main thing Goomba has is that bow, but otherwise they're going to be pretty similar in terms of how they're going to handle the rest of the seed.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Goomba, so I can see Zelga putting off the Hobo for a long time, but like he's going to check it before he checks Sora. He's going to check it before he checks like some other pretty terrible things. So...
yeah, you might see Zelda end up doing a few extra entrances on the Tower of Hera hunt that Goomba might not, but yeah, I agree. I think he will get to it relatively quickly, because he's not going to do something really bad before doing it.
Yeah.
Because I think at this point, you're probably going to go for some entrances, and maybe Zelda wants to do Swamp Palace first, because that's the main dungeon that you can just full clear right now.
Are we off to... Oh, I think he's seen this entrance. Oh, he has. It's marked on his map. Oh, this is Swamp, right?
Yeah, this is Swamp. Because we got the whole mire area available. Maybe, I guess the value of doing Swamp now is that you can combo in a pretty terrible entrance right now, being Graveyard Ledge, and also Sick Kid, and then go to mire.
I mean, I don't think that there was a better time to get over here than right now. And you're going to have to do this.
Yeah.
And it's not going to get faster, really. Especially with Tempered Sword already.
Yeah, there's really not much you can hope for. Swamp being a pretty quick dungeon when you get to just go to the back.
Oh, no. Sorry. That was swag strats rather than unfortunate strats.
Yeah, you can do some surprising things. Once you get the right pixel for that, you can do some, like, you can push the block out of the way or pick it up like he did there.
To answer Rithran's question, tomorrow and the next day, same bat time, same bat channel. Actually, I don't know if it's the same bat channel. Certainly related bat channels. We will see. They will all be covered on ZeldaSpeedRuns somewhere. The other semifinal has a game tomorrow as well, 3 hours before this one. 9 p.m. British time. Check your local listings for time zone differences.
I believe this the other semifinal game is 4 p.m. Central or Eastern time.
What I said. 9 p.m.
All right, so Swamp Palace didn't have anything, but you just need to get that crystal.
The crystal is one of the more interesting items to get in the game. Excellent hook speed there from Goomba. Definitely went perfect.
So one thing that Goomba still has to get to, though, at some point, is going into Ice Palace for that Misery Mire Big.
Yep. No, Goomba's a fairer hunk behind at this point. The last GT Small at the Sick Kid.
That was a really nice hook speed, though, there, getting it from Blind Cell.
Blind Side.
Yeah, I keep getting them mixed up. Maybe his house is kind of like a cell. He doesn't have any furniture except that one table.
I guess it's officially the Thieves' Hideout.
Just the tavern over in the Graveyard Ledge, a pretty exclusive tavern today.
Still has customers.
Yeah, maybe it's the Rock Climbing Guild, or they just all have mirrors.
Man, a climbing harness would go a long way in this game.
Yeah, it took them like 25 years to think of that. But also, we see that Quake Medallion is required for Mire today, so no Bombo's pedestal shenanigans today. And there's Harold.
Oh, yeah. So, as much as I usually cheer against stupid Ice Rock hunts at the end of the seed, I will be quite amused if we get to the point where Zelgadissan is Ice Rock hunting for this bow that we have known about for an hour.
Yeah, I mean, he's still got to find the other two Ice Rods with the Desert Big and the Pod Big. And there's the Quake Medallion, so we got a key under the mat situation for the Mire entrance again.
So, Rithrin, the ZSR schedule is often planned pretty close to when things air, unfortunately, because it is only once we have a commitment for a particular channel that it goes on that schedule. So checking individual tournament listings is often a good idea. Especially for the playoffs, where we're going to definitely stream everything. It's just a case of making sure that it happens.
Alright, so Zelda's going to clear out these entrances because we still need some items. I'm trying to think if there's not even really many good entrances out there. There's maybe one fairy cave. I've been vigilantly tracking the entrances, but I know we've seen Mire Shed and Saha and all of the 5 items.
Yeah, I thought we saw both the fairies, but maybe we only saw one.
I know for sure we saw one. Oh, nice. I've definitely seen the triple hookshot spin like that. I guess you can do that consistently.
No, Goomba can do that consistently.
That's true. Yes, if you are very good at this game, you can do that. I guess it makes sense because you can give the fighter sword double spins.
Like it's the all Ice Rod phase 2 there.
And here's Agina's hut, so maybe that Quake Medallion will be helpful today. We'll see if this item is one of the ones we need. Looking like, that's not the one you wanted.
No, that's like we anti-wanted that one.
Yeah, I was worried about commentator Kersligan saying like the runners are at this point not having the GT Big Key, they're in a good situation because you don't have to worry about the climb, but now you do.
Yep. And there's absolutely, Zaga has enough things that he's looking for. But,
yeah. He doesn't have the bow yet, so he won't be doing that before Hobo, most likely, but it probably will come up.
Yeah.
But I mean, if it comes up and it's the right play, then you're not going to feel bad about doing it. Because between these two runners, we've just seen so much. I mean, I guess we could turn in the green pendant. But like, I'm just trying to think what else can we even get.
Woods 3.
Yep, we can check that entrance. And you know Zelda's thinking about bad checks here, because here he is going into Eastern Palace.
With neither the bow nor the big key.
You know, I think it's better when you have neither than when you have one. Especially if that one is the big key.
But he had the option to do basically exactly these checks, even with the boots, when he found this place an hour ago. So...
Yeah. Because at this point, I mean, he's got the Zora area, which probably he'll do afterwards. Then you've got Skullwood's back, and plus Skullwood's one item on Mothula and Green Pendant.
Yeah. Yeah. And some pod checks.
Yes, that's true. He has the Harmless Hellway in the Vanilla Big Key chest. So this will give Goomba, especially if he goes to pod, that'll give him some time to catch up, because Goomba's already done all of the pod chests he can, and also this Eastern Palace dip. Because Goomba still needs to make his way to Ice, which is going to be a decent check for him at some point, because it's just something you can full clear.
Yeah, I mean, I think for Goomba, Ice Palace is amongst the more interesting places that he can possibly do. Just because it's a 10 item game or whatever.
But
I mean, if Zelgadissan is doing Eastern Palace without the ability to clear the place, we're down to not great checks.
Yeah, you've got Hobo. Like the GT climb looks pretty appealing. It's just Zelda doesn't have that bow, so he's not gonna think about that yet. Because they also have the 4 small keys too.
Yeah. Zelda also hasn't done Catfish. He hasn't done. He must have done Catfish. They're marked off on his map. I just missed them. But he hasn't done Zora.
Which that looks like where he's going now.
I enjoy that he stopped where the fake flipper spot is first. And I was like, oh yeah, the real flippers.
Yeah, muscle memorying the fake flipper is definitely a thing. And yes, now Goomba is going to do this these chests are in logic from his point of view. He's got the 4 small keys. We'll do the compass room here, and then probably we'll want to go to Ice Palace, because this would just make sense from a routing perspective. But looks like Zelda is gonna not do the Hobo right now, which that's where he needs to get to in these Zora checks.
I'm entirely unsurprised. Have we seen the other side of Bumper Cave?
Nope, and I'm pretty sure it has to be Laser Bridge.
Okay. Or like Pyramid Crack, or no, like actually exactly Laser Bridge?
We haven't seen Laser Bridge yet, so I'm pretty sure it has to be Laser Bridge.
Yeah. We'll see if Zelga is as sure as you are after these 2 exciting checks.
And Goomba is going into Ice Palace, so he'll be able to get the Meyer Big Key from here.
And I would guess is going to complete Ice Palace after that. The Meyer Big, not enough to get him out of here, especially given the best place to get back to, just like all the other dungeons in this game.
Yeah. At least they have the flute now, so it's not as awful. Oh wow, Zelda hasn't turned in. That mushroom was really early, so he'd probably feel pretty bad if this isn't going to be it.
Yeah.
But it's his piece.
Yeah, it's not it's not the thing, but especially given that the potion shop is here. He's had both the powder and the mushroom and the flute for long enough that like often that's the very first thing that people check, especially given where the magic shop was.
Yeah, Goomba checked that very quickly because that mushroom was just somewhere over in the Kakariko area. Oh, it was in Pod.
Yeah, but it was
Lumberjack House.
One of the earlier checks.
So Zelda is going to pick up this green pendant and whatever else Mothula has. And I don't think that Zelda did a pedestal check, so he might be thinking about that while doing Skullwoods' back entrance.
Which is good routing, except that he's the aforementioned missing Eastern Big Key problem.
Well, yeah, you're not going to be able to get pedestal, but you'd like to know if one of the big keys is on there.
Yep.
Especially since he's already dipped Eastern, so like it's going to be really late to go back there. But if you know it's on pedestal, then you know you have to. But today, just Bombo's Medallion on pedestal, which we don't need for anything.
Yeah, and both runners are sort of hoping that the Eastern Big Key never turns up.
Yeah. It'll probably just be in the climb, and then you're hoping that it's not the only thing in the climb when you get it.
Where is it?
Sahar
Shahar?
Nothing useful. Alright, so I think this is going back to Palace of Darkness for Zelda, which he has the 6 pod small, so those chests are going to be in logic.
And he doesn't have to do any fancy, like, anything. Just open the door.
Yeah, just go in. So, but this has definitely given Goomba a lot of chance to come back because we don't know how much of this stuff that Zelda's been doing while he's been clearing Ice Palace that Goomba is going to come back to do. Because Goomba still has to clear Mire to kind of get even with where Zelda is, but he's already done these pod checks. And then if he decides to do the climb relatively quickly and doesn't do some other stuff, because it's really looking like that climb is going to be the answer today, right? Or just the GT Big Chest.
I mean, oh god, if it's the GT Big Chest, that's terrible for both of them. It's certainly the most dense place that's left, and they need 3 things. Zelda needs 3 things still. Goomba only needs 2. Man, Zelda's going to feel terrible when he goes to the hobo. Assuming another boat doesn't turn up somewhere, but...
Yeah, because they got those flippers 6 minutes into the sea before you were even here on the commentary. They already had flippers.
Yep.
So Goomba didn't ever actually... It looks like he noped out of the Mire area as soon as he did Tower of Hera. He didn't get the GT Big from the entrance of Mire.
Right.
And yep, looks like Zelda is going to show us what's in the Skullwoods Fire Rod locked entrance. Can't be anything too exciting, I don't think. We've got the one-off item caves.
And we haven't checked. He didn't have the big key when he was here last time, which surprises me. I think it was had bricks, but
yeah, I don't remember when we got that.
Hobos are quite slow check, and there's only one thing there. So it's not like too surprising to me that it's getting last location pretty hard.
Yeah. Because the mirror being as late as it was, the main time you can check that nicely is when you're walking over in the pod area and you have the mirror and the flippers, but that just didn't happen this scene.
Nope. And then once he had the mirror and the flippers, he also had the flute, and so has been flying around on the Duck Express.
All right, this looks like some GT coming in. I'm trying to think what else is over here. We do have a dark connector that now I'm thinking about it we haven't followed yet, so maybe that is something, but it might be just GT.
Yeah. He also hasn't done Purple Chest. Is a few more seconds to spend, but again, Zelga gets to do this with slightly more
done
stuff.
Bombos either.
Yeah. Yeah, the bow is not actually a problem for Zelga, per se. It's just he will need it sooner or later.
Yeah, I think that Zelga hasn't missed out on too much without getting that bow yet, but it could start getting to that point. And Goomba was not even thinking about using the cape or anything there with the red mail and 17 hearts. Just take the damage boosts and just do the spins on Viddy.
I don't know if the magic refill animation is faster or slower than the heart refill animation.
Yeah, I think it depends on how much you need.
Oh right, the mirror shield is in the purple chest.
I'm wondering if that's our logical lamp access because of how deep the invincibility items were in GT. Because we had those bits early.
Yeah. Goomba just forgets to turn on all the torches.
Yeah, I wonder if that was like a missed item dash. Alright, this looks like Zelga's going to the hobo, so he'll be getting his bow, and then probably, I would imagine he's going to climb GT right away, because there's just nothing else left in this game.
Yeah.
And then it's just a matter of, what do we find? There's only the 4 items up there, plus the big chest item, because the Sanctuary is at Pyramid, and they've already done Magnum Escape with the Hyrule Castle Small.
Alright. Zelga gets his bow. Like, huh, that's interesting. That almost 2 hours.
Yeah, really.
Well, hope that wasn't important. We'll have to go climb Ganon's tower.
Yep, putting these portals. I'm wondering actually though, because you could just flute to Kakariko, but maybe there's something else over here. Oh, no, he already did the Bow outside of pod.
This seems needlessly cute. I'm pretty sure that's a changing of the minds situation, given that he fluted to take the whirlpool to get to North Kakariko.
Yeah.
Here's Goomba getting his GTT. Sorry. First, we're gonna go run around the corner and.
Yeah, so this I think has gotten to be a pretty close race now, because I don't think Goomba is gonna do too much before the climb, because I don't think he's turned in the green pendant yet, but that's really the main thing he has left. Zelda has basically just been doing things that Goomba already did for the past 5-10 minutes.
Well, and there's still there's 2 things required, and there's not a lot left in Desert. There's not a lot left in Pod. I guess 2 items in each place.
Yeah.
So.
Because if you think about it, basically whatever they get, if they don't get more than one, like you could just find both your Goombas here, but you could find one And then it's very likely that whatever you get there is either going to lead to something annoying like Eastern, which leads to your thing eventually, or just leads to the Go Mode item. So I think that the progression after this GT is going to be fairly linear.
Neither one has checked GT Big Chest. Goomba hasn't done it on simple count that he doesn't have the big key.
Yeah, I'll be getting that very shortly. But I guess that big chest is the main thing that could, but I just don't see the runners ever making the decision to do that unless there's nothing in the climb. Until it's like their last thing.
How long does it take to get to the big chest? Like 90 seconds?
So the one time, so there could be a situation where you get down to Pyramid Crack opening versus doing GT Big Chest. If you say find the Desert Palace big up here and then nothing in Desert, that would be an interesting choice. I guess it would probably depend on what their entrance trackers look like, how likely it is to get an item from whatever they find.
Yeah. I don't know what entrance tracker Goomba's using, but Zelda's using Dunka Tracker, which doesn't natively support like counting off chest entrances.
But yeah, you normally supplement that with
with a spreadsheet or something.
I know Zelda definitely does because he always knows when the connector is not worth following and doesn't do it.
I mean, he might also just have a big brain, which
that's true.
I think the number of these people is dwindling, but there are a few entrance racers that still don't believe in map trackers. I think is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, neither. Like, I know some people that just use a spreadsheet, and that seems fine. But I'll just remember everything. Like, okay.
Yeah, I can get away with that in standard mode, but once you get to entrance tracker, no, I need my supplements. And yeah, this is definitely what I was expecting. Goomba immediately going to the climb here because there's just not many other good options. I mean, he might have. I don't even know if he has any options, but if he does, they're like one-off entrances.
And it's worth noting that these guys are down to like, the last thing to possibly do 2 hours and 5 minutes into the season.
There's a bad big key.
Yep. Want to go beat Armos again?
Yeah, because like this is what you kind of hope that there's just another big key in here because otherwise you're just gonna have to go in there and you got your choice between doing Eastern or doing the GT big.
I would do the GT big first.
I think so too.
It's a butter sword.
Yeah, this makes a ton of sense. This is where you're really happy that you don't have like a lumberjack at Ganon because it's an easy decision here. You go to the big chest now. Yep. Now that you know that your other option is doing Eastern.
Well, and this is one item, Eastern's 2 items. And you save yourself the running back and forth time. Like, this is the lower risk order.
Absolutely. I would be very surprised to see Goomba doing anything different with the same information.
This is a sloppy landmo fight from Goomba. Not, like, hideously so, but worse than I would expect.
Zelda taking the quicker way through these portals without already doing round room. I don't know if it's quicker to go full right or full left when you've already cleared both of them.
I would guess full left because the fire room is kind of a pain in the butt.
And just $20 there, so it looks like the Eastern for 2 checks it is, and it's probably just going to be breadcrumb trail of big keys at this point. We'll see if anyone's going to be nice enough to give us 2 big keys in Eastern, but I'm kind of expecting it to be big key here and then another big key behind whatever that big key is.
And even our Light World dungeon entrances were in crappy spots. Like,
oh yeah. Like the only one they found Pod up at Lumberjack House, which is already really far away. And then they found Eastern and the random desert connector. The only nice one was pendant back of Skullwoods, right behind Link's house.
Well, all right. Let's see if Goomba makes the same choice as Zelga.
No.
All right.
So this is going to be really close. There's one big key. We'll see if we're going to get two. You definitely still have to go to Armos here, though, because it's the same situation where you've got two. I mean, you could gamble it, though, but it's two checks versus one, and the one is very hard to get back to.
Yeah. Well, and the time cost of running all the way through Eastern is pretty high.
Yeah.
And ZelgaDissan is like, why did I dip Eastern? Put it off for an hour and a half.
Eastern or the climb, I guess. It's the 4-item Eastern versus 4-item climb.
I mean, it wasn't even at that point. It was like Eastern versus Kobo and
yeah, it's true.
Mothula and the second time Goomba's tried to be cute with the Stelfo setup and screwed up.
Well, there's our second big key. Nice. Zelda showing off that if you're in the light world, that you can just mirror and not pick up the pendant. So just need to beat two. I mean, Helma's not a quick boss to get to, but Desert is.
Yeah, land mode. I mean, even Helma's not horrible. You can just run straight to the back. You then have to, you do have to deal with the basement, but it's not that bad.
No, it's just a little bit longer than some of the other options.
I'm starting to run out of places where Goomba can catch up here.
It would have to be something, some sort of mistake on Zelga's side, and it's really hard to get those mistakes when you're on 18 hearts red mail gold sword. I guess you don't have silvers yet. I wonder where those are. Maybe it's honestly not unlikely that they'll just pick them up here from Land Molus, because there's Land Molus, Desert Palace big, Pod big. There's just not that much left to check.
Well, let's do the thing. Over under on total number of checks that the winner makes in this seed.
This has got the feeling of a 190 to me. If I'm saying the over under though, I'd probably put it at 187.
And a half?
Sure, 187 and a half.
Sorry, the prediction has to have two outcomes. And
yes, I understand.
All right, we'll see if our lovely restreamer Nori can set that up for us.
Because whenever I do this, I try to think about what did they get to skip, and the answer is not very much, because they full cleared basically every dungeon. They left behind Desert Big and Pod Big, but full cleared GT and every other dungeon. And also all the big item entrances were found.
Yeah, they also picked up a fair number of the standing items, which is a place where the check number in the credits sometimes gets is lower than you might think, because they looked at a thing but they didn't actually pick it up.
And it looks like Goomba decided to do the dungeons in the opposite order of Zelda. So it's just a pure execute. It's actually a little bit. Normally, you don't get the two big keys like that and have your go mode. You get to go mode 2 dungeons in Crosskeys. That's general. That's one more than usual.
I mean, sometimes it's you pick up cane is your go mode item, and you get to go mode all the cane dungeons. But
yeah. Or you find like you're looking for 2 dungeons and you find the mirror and the flute.
Yeah.
And Goomba into his Helmasaur fight with the gold sword. This should be a pretty quick, just 2 slashes after the mask is gone.
Yeah, it turns out that the bosses of this game are really easy when you have equipment you're not supposed to have to beat them. Though at least phase 1 is still a bunch of hammer hits.
And down goes Helma on Zelda's side. So he just needs to go over to Ganon. We'll see. I'm never 100% sure. I think you probably flute here, just given. It's always interesting when you get to the end of the Crosskeys seed and Ganon's in a weird place. But with him being right there with the flippers, probably quite quicker to flute.
Yeah, so Zelgadissan is 1 desert ahead of Goomba, basically.
Yeah, and we'll get to see. Ganon will tell us where the silvers are. It's probably going to be in a dungeon, but if it's not, it's in some one-off entrance.
Yeah, I don't. The new Ganon and blind quotes are at least novel, stupid things to say.
Yeah, that was not a new one. That's a long time one. Blind had a new one today. Ganon doing a lot of warps today.
Yeah, at least it's fair.
Yeah, both players will get the same. These Crosskeys Ganon fights, though, it's always like, if it's a longer siege, you're just on 18 hearts, red mail, gold sword, no silvers. Tower of Hera basement, okay.
Speaking of checks that they didn't do.
Yeah, they never found the small key.
Yeah.
That's gotta be so. That's probably like a Desert Bits big chest or something. Just a few more cycles here for Zelda, and Ganon will be down.
He could, like, catastrophically bounce off and fall down the pit. It is. That's Goomba's out, right? Like.
Yep.
Oh dear.
We have the dreaded not cross the bridge. But
dreaded
Zelda's
not cross
got
the
that sword
bridge.
up in the air, so it's looking good for him.
There have been rumors of people failing at the not crossing the bridge part of the game. So.
Yes, that tragic way to lose the game. But there we go. ZelgaDissan has taken game 1 of the series. Get your good games in chat for Zelda, finishing with in first place with a time of 2 hours and 17 minutes.
I thought you were going to say get goods in chat. Like, man, harsh.
GG's.
These guys are both usually up for interviews, so presumably Zelda will join us momentarily.
And Goomba is just about finished with his Ganon fight as well.
Yes. For obvious anti-cheating reasons, there are no spoiler logs available. Welcome, Zelda. GG's.
Hey, GG's. Thank you very much.
So, did you feel good going into Ganon? Felt like you were in a winning position?
No. I felt like if there was any chance I had, it was that Goomba bailed in the Eastern. That was like the only thing in my head, the only way.
Yeah, he just had a bunch of unfortunate routing where he went to Ice Rod area before he got the thing to get the sword, the boots to get the sword, and he got distracted from the boots a couple of times, and just there's a whole bunch of slightly unfortunate routing choices through the seed that got you a pretty substantial lead, which you then chased all over the world finding your last things. Speaking of things that made you feel bad, Hobo.
Yeah, I had 3 checks left in the game. The GT Big Chest, Hobo, and Hera Basement, which I know for a fact the only remaining key in the game was on Floating Island, which had to be the Hera Small Key. So it would be funny whichever one I chose, I would have found my bow. But it was really bad getting that bow so late.
It was really bad on the one hand because yes, you needed it for go mode, but it wasn't as if you could have completed Eastern or Pod much earlier, right? Or even the GT climb. So
yeah, that's probably fair. It's not something I would have probably done just because the GT Big Key was so buried. I think it was in the Meyer entrance. I think that was Agina.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So there's no way I would have climbed GT much earlier than I did anyway. 4 items that still would have been my densest option for a while, but I obviously didn't have a bow, so I wasn't doing it.
Not tempted to mimic clip your way up there?
I gave it the vaguest amount of thoughts, and then I was like, I have so few locations in the game. At this point, one of them has to be a bow for me to have to do this, so I'm just going to focus on those. And I had a quite a adventurous mimic clip earlier in Pod that was absolutely disastrous. So
I was not proud of you for that mimic clip, sir.
Yeah, it was kind of like the perfect storm. I haven't done it for a while. I had a cat jump in front of my monitor while I was trying to watch where the mimic was moving. It was just very awkward, and I'm not blaming the cat. I just sucked at it, but it was just like the perfect storm. And I rediscovered apparently what my button input is to open up the SD to SNES menu. That was fun too.
Yeah, when you fat finger opened the emulator menu, or I guess the SD to SNES menu, I was like, well, that's not good for doing this smoothly.
I guess it was my Super NT actually, not SD to SNES, but yeah, I did not remember that combination, so now I know it.
You can avoid pushing it in the future. Dane, you got anything smart to say?
I was just wondering, so if you had gotten that bow early, you dipped Eastern in about an hour 30. Would you have done the climb before Eastern with the 4 smalls and the big and the bow?
Yeah, there's no way I would have gone to Eastern in that scenario. Whenever I've got logical things to do, like climbing GT, I'm not going to Sphere 1 Eastern that I had skipped from 15-minute mark. There's no way.
Yeah, we commented that you did that dip. It was basically exactly the dip you could have done an hour and a half earlier. Yeah, even down to, I think, even having the boots an hour and a half later, and got the same nothing in particular. So, ice was required and Eastern was required. That's an unpleasant seed. Oh, and the Moon Pearl location is just terrible. Or rather, the connectors to get to the mountain, just terrible.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was a forced bunny walk. I hadn't sat there and thought it through, but I remember thinking when I did the Hyrule Castle stuff, okay, this is clearly a route up here that's logical, so I was just going to focus on clearing everything I could on that mountain trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, with where the invincibility items were in GT, Spike Cave for the mirror to get over there was a no. The hookshot in Thieves Town, I don't think with Thieves Town Big was in Swamp Palace, which is also in the Dark World. So yeah, it was hard required.
Yeah, that was a fun mire finding Samaria, Hammer, Pearl. And then I was logically in my head, like, where can the hookshot be just as long as it's not Samaria locked after finding, like, a mire key in Rando room, I think. But then I just stumbled into the hookshot before it even mattered.
We ran it over under on your completion, and Dane chose the slightly optimistic number of 187.5. Over under. Zelga? Before it scrolls on screen?
I did leave a lot of standing items like heart pieces and things. I'm actually going to go under, even. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm going to go under.
Yeah, I was feeling 190, but I tend to. My over/under skills have been on the high side, so I put myself a little lower.
Gives me something to talk about at the end of the race. Yeah, the choice. I mean, I guess it was ultimately you guys both did almost everything in the seat. It was just a case of you did them in the right order in a couple of spots, not getting distracted by possible checks. The only really inefficient thing you did was that mimic clip, which wasn't too terrible. I love quick swap, 10 seconds of menu time, the whole seat. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, spoilers. Someone is way off on the bet.
Yep, 197.
Not quite 200.
I do think because I had done everything basically before the GT climb, I was briefly considering leaving after the Desert Big in the Eastern Big Chest, but I felt like going into Eastern, all I had left was Hera Basement in the game, so I just kind of figured it doesn't unlock enough for me to bail on Armos Knights, and I felt like that might have been my out since everything else felt like it was going so wrong with so little left that I kind of wondered if maybe Goomba did that and that was my win condition.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that you did leave behind that was important was the bow, but it was never useful for Goomba. Like, it felt terrible for you, but it didn't actually get Goomba anything. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it actually does, and it was actually really annoying that, like, as soon as I got the bow, I was like, okay, finally pod, and then I realized on my way to pod that didn't actually do anything. I had to just do GT.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I saw the stutter step there. Oh, look at all that inefficient menuing from Goomba. 22 seconds. So game 2 tomorrow night or tomorrow day. I don't know. Actually, Goomba made one more check than you did.
Same time tomorrow.
You and Zug. How many times have you and Goomba raced Crosskeys? Do you know off the top of your head, or in a spreadsheet or something?
It's probably pushing 10 by now between ladder, and I would say very often Goomba gets the better of me. It just so happens that this actually gives me like a 2-1 tournament lead, but I'm probably like 1-4 or something like that on ladder. Okay. So I don't know. I feel like Goomba is overall the better runner. I know I can take a series against Goomba, but I think if we raced 100 races, it'd probably be like 60-40 Goomba at least. So I'm pretty happy with this. It was a terrible seed, and it feels bad always being on the losing side of it, I know. But definitely GG's to Goomba. I'm looking forward to tomorrow, and he can have his revenge.
If it's 60-40 to Goomba, I think that still makes you a favorite for this series. You got 2 chances, so good luck tomorrow night. And I think I've signed up to come that one too. So see you then. Nori, if you want to play us out?
I'll forget to unmute myself as well as unmuting my mic. GG's Zelga and Goomba as well. It was a very close race. Sorry, I rolled basically what can only be described as a shit seed. I don't usually do that. Also, thank you very much, Dane and Excalibur, for doing commentary, and Scott and Blue Roll for doing tracking. So 2 Crosskeys matches tomorrow. I know we have an ALttPR Dungeon Doors requirement match tomorrow, so I'm not sure about the channels, but it'll be on. But we have 2 matches tomorrow at 4 and 7 p.m. Eastern. So hope to catch you then. So thanks everyone for joining us, and hope to see you. Take care. Bye.
Oh boy.
Yes, thank you everyone for doing the tech work on this.
That was wicked. Yeah. Yeah. I saw that and I was like, I mean, I guess, but still, like... Make it happen. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there was only a few in the early tournament. There were some where there enough did enough to do that chance, not with the play.
Yeah. Yeah, especially this late in the game. Definitely do everything you can get